to talk about lunging, and one of the first things I guess to talk about is why do we lunge horses? Probably the most well-known answer for that would be just to get rid of some excess energy. You know, horses come in all kinds of temperaments, and sometimes before you get on and ride them, you just need to get a few of those bucks out so you don't have to ride them yourself. And, you know, the younger horses, it's usually a helpful thing just to take a little bit of the edge off before you get on. Another reason we do lunging is to maybe start out young horses or even more seasoned horses and teach them, you know, some manners and control on the ground, and also to maybe even instill voice commands. It's a great place to do that, teaching them on the lunge line. Once you have your groundwork established and they know what they're supposed to do on the end of the line, then you can start adding other equipment to help teach them balance and rhythm and regularity, more of a frame, kind of teach them how to carry themselves a little bit on the ground again before you actually get on them. So as far as equipment goes for lunging, lots of different ways you can do it. I have Parada here has a surcingle on, which means it's just real quick and easy to put on and do a little bit of lunging for the day if I'm not going to ride. Obviously you need a lunge line, and I have her in a bridle today. They make all kinds of things like lunging cabossons that fit snugly and have some rings on the nose where you can attach your lunge line. You can also lunge your horse in a halter. It's good to make sure that that halter is snugly fitted to the horse, because it's going to be moving around a little bit on his head when you have your lunge line attached to it. Another piece of equipment that is very important is having a lunge whip. It's an extension of your hand or your aids to help the horse keep moving. I'll show you a couple things when we get started here of things that I see people doing at horse shows and such, getting their horses out lunging. The other thing is that I have my bridle on that has reins. A lot of times I unhook the reins so I don't even have to mess with them. But if you have your reins, the way that you can get them out of the way so that they don't interfere is put them over the neck here and twist. Twist them up really tight. And then you can put your throat latch through. Yeah. Put her back up. And then those reins aren't going to be flapping and flying around and getting in the way. Before we get started too, another thing in lunging is being organized. You have all this rope and your whip and the horse and everything. You got to be organized. Many times we'll see people that wrap the rope kind of in a circle. The safer way, because this can pull and wrap right around your hand, the safer way to hold your lunge line is in a fold type holding, and then that way the horse pulls away from you, you're not going to have that wrapped around your hand. Another helpful thing to have is gloves, especially if you're working a horse that doesn't really know what they're doing yet or has a lot of energy. Have some protection on your hands, because if they pull that rope, and you've ever been rope burned, it's not fun. So having some gloves. Another safety tip I can give you is if you wear spurs, take your spurs off when you lunge your horse, especially if you're, working with a horse that doesn't really know what he's doing yet. You can easily get pulled and catch yourself with those spurs and have yourself end up on the ground. So Parada here, she's 19 years old and she's pretty confirmed in her lunging. I use her for my lessons and with kids on her and everything. So she pretty much knows what to do. So I'll show you the basics and the correctness of how to do your lunging. And then we have El Dorado over there. He's a little bit, he's still learning. He basically knows what to do, but I have started him with some devices, I guess you could call it, to help teach him to be a little bit more round. Okay, so let's see. First thing, come here, Friday. So many times you'll see people out, they're going to go lunge their horse. And they just kind of stand out here in front of them and say, go. And sometimes they won't, sometimes they do, sometimes they'll fly away. Another fun one I see Walk on. Once they get them out there, they don't even have a whip. So they got the end of their line, and they're kind of, you know, chasing them around. Come on, let's go. Come on. Or they're running around and they're doing like as much work as the horse is doing. And actually, when you work your horses, you want the horse to do the work. So when we start out with lunging, I always start out in the middle. Well, you're going to get positioned first before I ask her to go. And you want to be at the saddle area. Stand. So I want to be about here so that the door is open and she can go that way, and I can have my whip ready and ask her to walk out. As she starts to move out, I'm going to let the line slide out. And basically, this is really hard for people to get used to. You stand in the middle spot. You don't move. You pivot on a leg. There are some times in which you can move to be a little closer to the horse. But generally, you just stand right in the middle. How can you teach a horse to do a 20-meter circle if you're not standing in the center so they can make that circle around you? Go down here so we don't step on my whip. Okay, so I'm keeping myself even with the saddle area, and I'm kind of making a V shape. So my rein is one V and my whip is the other V. And I want to keep my shoulders straight at her. You want to kind of get out here. If you get ahead of them, they'll stop or turn that in towards you. You want to be the driving force. So Parada knows her voice commands pretty well. And once your horse is confirmed, you know, I don't like them just to take off on the, you know, when you send them out just to start taking off. I like them just to walk a little bit, stretch out, and then I can start asking her to work. Trot. So because she knows those voice commands, I didn't have to do too much with my whip. But the horses are very sensitive. Another piece that when first teaching a horse is that they don't really stay out at the end of the line. They'll fall in or they'll pull out. And so your whip can be very useful in directing the different parts of the horse. So I don't know if she'll fall in here. So my rope gets a little bit loose. And I can like put that whip out at her shoulder. And you can see she's getting farther and farther out away from me. I let my rope kind of slide out there. So this rein, this lunge line takes the place of your rein when you're riding. So if you don't have a little bit of contact on there, you can't really talk to them very well. So when you're first starting out a horse, it's much more difficult to get the transitions. You have to do a lot of repetition of it. But she's confirmed enough now, I can just kind of ask her with my line. Couple little taps there. Walk on. And I got my whip ready. She was thinking she was done already and looking in at me, and I want her to keep walking forward. If I'm going to use my voice commands, the upward transition is more of an abrupt, you know, trot, trot. When I'm going to ask her to slow down a little bit, I'm going to get her going fast first. Oops, too fast. All right, so and trot. So when I do a downward transition voice command, it's like a two-tone. And trot. And I can also use that to slow the pace down. She gets a little quick. And trot. Good girl. And then she slows down for me a little bit. Canter. Canter. Good girl. Sometimes, like every quarter of the circle, just to kind of keep it going. Kind of flip that whip a little bit. And trot. So little pulls and release. That's important. If you just pull and tug, they're going to come right in at you. And walk. Good girl. Walk on. One thing I have a little pet peeve about, I'll go out to the indoor and grab a lunge whip, and there's like little knots in the end of it. And I don't know how they quite get there. I mean, people don't like purposely tie knots in the end of the lunge whip. But they get knots, and your whip is pretty useless. You can't crack it when it's got knots in it. So you want to make sure your whip is straight. Whoa. Whoa. Good girl. I like to have my horses wait for me out there, and I come get them. That way they're not coming in all of a sudden and possibility of stepping on the rope, especially if you have them hooked up to side reins or anything. You really want them just to stand straight ahead. So I'll take her back into the middle. Whoa. And this is where we'll switch everything around. So I have, some people you can hook just right to the bit. The popular way is over the head, behind the ears there. Okay, everything organized. And that fold just comes right out of my hand as she walks and gets a little bigger inner circle. Good girl. Canter. She doesn't go. Canter. Thank you. And walk. And good girl. Sometimes you might have to shorten up on your line. They get like real crazy and you can't get them to stop. You might need to bring them in. And walk. You have to keep going forward though. No turning in. Well, she's getting a little worked up now, so we'll let her go down, go around a little bit and calm down. And walk. And walk. Good girl. And you see, once she gets a little bit less rushed, she stands up a little straighter, a little more balanced. And good girl. And walk. Good girl. And whoa. Whoa. Okay, so one other thing I'll show you here real quick that I like to do with her. I have this little gadget, I don't know what else it's called. It's just a ring with a couple strings on it and some clips. I'll put this on. Then what I can do here, well, I'm going to run these right through my ring like this. And then I can do a little bit more in-hand kind of work with her a little closer. All right, okay. We haven't done this for a while. There we go. All right, giddy up. Strut. So now I have a little shorter whip that I can manage a little better. But I can ask her to be more round. All right, get out of the whip. Now, when you're working shorter lines, obviously you're going to have to walk a little more. But I can take her pretty much wherever I want in the ring. Come on. Good girl. Getting back in the center area so I can send her forward again. Good girl. Good girl. So now you can see I'm getting just a little bit more of a bend out of her instead of her sort of just being strung out. Good girl. Whoa. Walk on. Walk on. And she's like, nope, nope, nope. Walk on. Walk on. Okay. Good girl. And whoa. All right, so that's a little bit more of a confirmed finished horse. Molly, I'll switch with you now. Sorry, I'm giving you a mess of the line. Okay, so this is Eldorado, and I have on him today what are called Klosterhofs, and they're basically similar to the what is it, Vienna side reins. My husband and I graduated from Meredith Manor, and the dressage instructor, well, that was there brought the blueprints, I guess you could say, of the Klosterhofs to Meredith Manor. My husband was in the leather class, and he made several pair. Quit. Ugh, such a rat. Okay, so I don't have these actually tied up yet because I want to get some of the other stuff out first because he's young and just learning this stuff. Now stand. Okay, so he's definitely a little bit more of a challenge. You ready? Walk on. And sometimes he doesn't wait. See what happens here. All right. Heck no. Yep. Hey, get on. Trot. Hey.
She has help today.
Goodness gracious. So we're just going to work this out. The other thing, as far as equipment, I do have him wrapped. He just has polo wraps on, which is the least amount of protection that you can put. You can buy all kinds of leg boots and such. But I need to keep him going forward. He's cross-cantering and doing all kinds of crazy things, but he's got a lot of energy right now. So we're going to let him get it out a bit before we tie him up. Whew. Breathe. And trot.
Good.
So typically a good amount of time to spend on the lunge line is about 15, maybe 20 minutes. If sometimes when they're first learning, you know, you can do a 30 or 45 minute one. Sometimes you don't want to stop until you're at a good place. Trot. So definitely with this horse, boy, I want my whip. I need my extra bit, a little bit of help. And trot. Oh boy. Whew. You are just full of it. Trot. Unfortunately, this takes a little bit of time to let them get it all out. Trot. Sometimes with this guy, I'll put ground poles on the ground just to give him a little something extra to focus
You
on.
have to lunge them for like 3 hours. Like,
Boy. And trot. And trot. Trot. So he tends to cut in a little bit now that he's slowing down and not pulling on me so much. We'll probably get a little bit of cutting in on the circle. Boy. And you can see he's kind of very high-headed at this point. They don't want my rope dragging on the ground. Now he's decided he's kind of done, and I'm going to say, no, you're going to keep going a little bit. So when they're first starting out, they tend to, you know, be very inconsistent with going and slowing down and speeding up.
oh, okay.
Whatever she so desires.
Now he's a little bit
Maybe I'll
less
go over.
concerned with
after her
his
until
flow.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Got the walk. There's actually a good sign. He's licking and chewing. So we got a little bit of relaxation going on.
Don't forget your phone this time.
Whoa.
I won't. I'm leaving it here for this.
Whoa.
I'll be right back.
Whoa. Not exactly what I wanted either, but we'll take that for today.
Go get it.
And then of course horses have two sides.
it's set up.
Oh, it's already over there?
Up front.
I didn't know they had it.
So it's probably going to be starting all over again. This
It's
side.
imported, mine, but it's in a pinch. They got it.
Maybe not quite so bad.
Oh, you asked for it.
It's you know the small tube from Radio Shack. It's nice. It doesn't.
Alright, so at least we're not bucking anyway. And trot. I didn't really want that either.
I just told her mom. She wouldn't have to stress it.
And trot.
Right. In and out.
And many times when you're first teaching them, you got to be just a little closer to kind of get the job done. If you have way too much rope out there, you can't get your good contact.
Yeah. Very
Alright,
well.
whoa,
Okay.
whoa. Alright, so, stand. What I'm going to do, when you're going to hook up your horse to your gadgets or what have you, you want to do the offside first, whichever direction you're lunging. And typically you start out a little longer before you just shorten them all up, and it's something they need to get used to, being kind of confined. But then that way, when I go to do this other side, the final side here, if he starts to get worried about it, I'm in the correct position, I can send him forward. Good. One thing, whenever you're working with some type of gadget, you want to be ready to send them on. You don't want them to go up and over. Which my line is a mess. Walk on. Good boy. Okay. Walk on.
Doesn't matter which way.
Trot.
Reaching higher.
Good boy. So I don't have these really tight yet. And the end of side reins are these are sliding reins, and this particular device helps teach the horse to stretch down, stretch over his back a little bit, and if he puts his head up, he gets pressure. But if he relaxes and puts his head down, which is a more comfortable place to be anyway, they get more steady in their rhythm. Good boy. Trot. The other thing is you want to keep them going just slightly faster than what they want to do. They're working right now, so we want them to go. Okay. Now, I'm going to try asking for a canter. This was pretty funny. First time I put him on him, and I asked him to canter, he just physically couldn't do it because his head was up so high. See if he got a little better. Esther. Good boy.
Ashley hates the rain. It's kind of funny.
Good
Always
boy.
has hated the rain?
Oh,
Or?
she always has. Like,
So always a lot of reward, verbal praise when they're doing stuff
She's a fair
right.
weather runner.
Yeah, she's like a gremlin. You know, you don't see her.
Actually, another
She really hates
thing I have in my toolbox for getting them to stop, you'll notice that I'm kind of giving them tugs.
Is she going to go in the rain?
And sometimes that doesn't work either. Just go like that and be an annoyance until they actually stop.
Stays like this
Oh,
now.
well,
Belly watch.
boy.
She just has to watch
Whoa.
something too. You know what I mean? If
Whoa.
it's too, but right now it's just.
So I really don't like him coming all the way into me like that,
we
but
get him
for
out
today,
first thing.
we'll tighten these up a little more. Whoa.
It's really something that would just wait until 11:30.
Yeah, exactly.
It has been holding on. It seems to be getting stronger.
And definitely, if that horse starts going up,
We're right between two
or
storms.
backwards or anything, sometimes you gotta whack them on the butt and say, get going forward. You really don't want to end up with a bad experience with them going over backwards, all tied up. Good boy. Good boy. So now you can see he's starting to get just a little bit more in a frame. As he relaxes, he's still a little tense, he'll start to drop his head a little more.
Themselves and the horses start to turn themselves.
You know, it's still
And he's kind of looking a little bit to the outside, so he's kind of like leaning in. Oh, there, that's better. Good boy. So when sometimes I can put the whip a little bit more at the haunches to kind of get those back feet stepping a little leg yield like, and he's much more balanced. Canter, canter, canter. Now he's like, oh, cute. So when they're going kind of fast like that, I kind of follow them because I don't want him to turn into me. And then once he kind of, canter, good boy. Once he kind of calms down, then we can come back to our center place here. Good boy. So yeah, we definitely have a little work to do in the canter yet. He's not real relaxed at it. And rock. Good boy. Rock. But you just have to kind of keep your eye on them, and you're looking at, is he keeping a good pace? Do I need to add my whip? And you start with little bits. Sometimes you can do this one too. Overhand. Whoosh. Good boy. So there's lots of different things you can do with your whip. You can do an underhand, add them to move them out. Right at the shoulder, just say, get out more.
I saw a portable tower here.
Yeah, and it says RMZ even beside it. It says
Good boy.
We looked
There.
it up
So
on the
that's much.
internet. It says remote,
That's a little better trot.
removable access.
And he kind of relaxes,
For disaster.
drops his
They
head a
bring
little
in
bit.
Power and boost the signal.
So I'm just continually kind of asking him to look in at me a little bit.
No, we have 18
Like, oh mom, we never did this in the rain before. Good boy. There we are. Good boy. So this is a nice trot right here. He's stepping in his tracks.
It gets
He
better.
looks much more relaxed now.
That's no good.
He's
So
like,
this
on
is
it,
the
too.
trot we want, the working trot we want to get to. This is where now he's thinking a little bit instead of just being afraid of whatever, that he's out of balance. More.
Oh, that's good.
Very good. Good boy. Now I'll show you one more little trick. If you have trouble getting your horse to stop, walk on.
What's the word on the
You're
camera?
like
Charlie?
telling him
Let it-
100 times and he's not doing it.
Right now.
Yeah.
Walk on. That's a little closer.
Oh, it's getting wet. Is she
Good
done?
boy. You just
That's good.
walk on. Good. So I ask for the halt and he doesn't do it, then we just keep him walking straight ahead. And I've done this enough times, he's like, I don't want to go up there. But anyway, you can kind of keep him going straight to the fence saying, whoa, 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 and eventually he's going to stop because he has nowhere else to go. So that's another little tool that you can use to help establish those voice commands. So, good boy. And I think
You're good?
we're good and wet. So thank you. If you have any questions, I am in the corner of the equine building here at my Arabian booth, and this guy's back in the horse tent. So thank you very much.
I'm pulling it back. I'm gonna go get the mic.
Folks, we appreciate you enduring the liquid sunshine out there. We are going to move over into a drier area for the draft horse demonstration a little bit later. Ashley, what's the call here, girl?
She can't hear you, I don't think. I think
Ashley, no, go. What you gonna do? Come on down. Next up, we are scheduled for a trick riding demo with Miss Ashley Fletcher. Ashley is the founder of the Keystone Equine Entertainment and Training Company. She's here, a couple of her stalwart students, and they're all waterproof. For our draft horse demonstration, it will be a clinic over underneath the coverall, and we're just going to go at moment by moment here and see what we do throughout the day. So we appreciate you being with us, and we'll keep on. We have a lot of activities going on back in the coverall. There's some contests for the 4-H'ers in the building behind me. So.
Do we think the rain's gonna pass? We kind of do. I wonder if she should just wait if they're not coming out. I don't know. I guess she's doing it, so.
All right, should I turn the music on right now?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's hit rock and mic country. Bring up the auxiliary.
It's operating your mouth. You're ready to go. I think, wait, something's here. Hold on, I need to go. She hurt herself. Mom said she hurt herself.
Mom said she hurt herself. Charlie, bring the music down.
Turn that down, boss.
I think that got slippy.
Put an extension on there.
Either that or bring the hook over here.
Hold on to that a second, would you?
Get me out of the road.
Here's another 2 feet.
It's definitely not a mother's sport. Done. All right. Can you imagine if your kid ran away to join the Wild West Circus at 18 or 19 years old and didn't hear from him for 3 years?
She's okay. She just slipped her feet out. She said she just can't do it right now with that rain.
That's understandable.
But she asked you guys, she said if it stopped raining.
We'll find a spot. We'll
Yep,
make something happen.
it doesn't matter to us, one way or another, but she just said that he's like, he won't run into the rain.
Well, I don't blame him.
And she just slipped her hand out, and she's been having trouble with her shoulder, and she dropped her hand, and I was afraid she hurt herself, but she's okay. Good, good. That's the mom in me.
All right.
I'll hand this back to you. In case you want to make a call between now and then.
Okay. To who? I can't call it.
That's right, you can't call anybody. That's why you weren't worried about getting it back yet.
No, because I can't really use it for anything else besides.
We'll get you to move over into the coverall with the draft horses over there. Kevin, are you ready to talk to folks over that way? Or Karen, can you hear me?
Turn that down.
Kevin, we're going to be sending folks your way. Is that okay? Give me a high sign, low sign, no sign. Kevin, are you ready for them to come your way? All right, they're headed that way. You'll wire up your PA and have fun with them.
Very well. Ben, I'm going to turn that.
You put the hook over there.
Oh,
You got your...
where's my hook?
That's over there.
That's not
Prepared.
Yeah, not bad.
Impress Maria here that we know what we're doing.
I might be fired next year.
Yeah, see, hang it right on that little wire there.
Throw it up over there.
Yeah, see, we're ready to...
Look at that.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like in the boxing ring.
Exactly. You can lower it.
Yeah.
I want you to get me a
retractable thing. Yes, just like they have in the garages for the air
Now
hoses.
see if they had us enclosed here like they should with heat and air.
Yeah,
A couple comfortable chairs, we could endure.
that's right.
Well,
Well, I hope we get to see the tricks later. I was excited. Yeah.
So yeah, we have about 2 hours until, unless she it stops raining in 15 minutes and she decides to put squeeze in. But never know.
it'll be. Proves who's in charge and it's not us.
That's right. We can just pass the buck and
Is that okay, big one?
yeah.
It's like
Chunk of aluminum for an antenna.
That's not his, he doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Bills. Still can't say it, but
yeah, one here, what was it that? One of the microphones got stepped on or something like that. I don't care. It's the fastest one I ever sold.
that's right. That goes in there. That's right. Right out there, Charlie. We need you.
Gonna hurt to keep it dry. I don't think this chunk of aluminum is susceptible to any damage at all.
You know how to disengage this little sucker?
You see the whole schmear.